Hey everybody, welcome back into a video. Man, Nintendo, I don't know what the heck you're thinking with your pure strategy. There's just so many blunders they've made ever since the Direct. It's kind of insane. One situation is not really their fault particularly. It's more so out of their hands because they clearly were preparing for this situation, but I don't think they expected just how crazy this situation is. What do I mean? In regards to pre-orders in the US being delayed, and there's a pretty good reason why. So let's get into it. Nintendo has taken an unprecedented decision to delay Switch 2 pre-orders in the US, blaming the impact of Donald Trump's tariffs and evolving market conditions. The pre-orders were set to go live in the US on April 9th, which was today. Nintendo did not share updated kickoff date, but did promise the June 5th release date is still intact. Here's their statement. Pre-orders for Switch 2 in the US will not start April 9th. In order to assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions, they will update timing at a later date. The launch date of June 5th, 2025 is unchanged.
Oh my god!
Holy crap. They did not mince words. That is unprecedented. I've never heard of that, ever, for pre-orders to be delayed for a game system, especially a brand new platform like the Switch 2. Wow. For those who don't know, basically, what a tariff is, basically, to sum it up, it's a tax on imported goods. And Nintendo was actually, the original Switch 2 pricing of $450 to $500, that was the pricing they set just in case of tariffs, which they definitely were expecting. They talked about it a few months ago before the Switch 2 was even officially revealed. They were definitely expecting it. But they didn't expect it to be this high because the tariff in Vietnam was 46%. Because Nintendo actually moved production from China to Vietnam, to kind of combat the tariff situation, but they clearly were caught off guard by just how high it is. That's why, the Switch 2 pre-orders were delayed in the US. It sucks, yes, because I was definitely expecting to pre-order my Switch 2 today, but obviously that didn't happen. What's funny is, though, I did pre-order through the Amazon UK, but they canceled it after, and for some reason, locked my Amazon account for whatever reason, but I fixed it. But I lost my Switch 2 pre-order, so I was just going to wait, obviously, for the US anyways, like everybody else. But anyway, moving on from that, we got another. Moving on from that, now they tried to justify why Mario Kart World is $80. So here's what they had to say. Here's response trying to insist that Mario Kart World will justify its price tag and point to the upcoming dedicated direct, where fans will learn more about the game and what it has to offer. I would say it's less about the strategy of pricing the game. It's more about whenever we look at a given game, we just look at what the expansion, what the content, what's the value. Mario Kart World, especially see from the direct, did not give you any hints or anything, but I did read your article this morning. I think you had mentioned you didn't find a lot to discover with roaming, so I would say tune into our direct. Maybe you'll be able to find out about that. But honestly, this is a game that is so big and so vast, you will find so many little things in it, and there's still some secrets remaining that I think people end up buying and playing the game. They're going to find this to be probably the richest Mario Kart experience they've ever had.
That's funny. Go ahead and hand me the phone so I can call the police.
Oh, Bill, you don't get it. You absolutely do not freaking get it. Why we're pissed off is about game pricing because it's ridiculous. $80 for a video game? Yes, games were pretty expensive back then. But that's a whole different era. Because cartridges back then actually had motherboards inside of them. They had actual hardware to kind of make sure the games would actually work. And not to mention, gaming was not as big back then as it is today. It's a totally different era. And especially what, gets me going is because of how common games nowadays launch incomplete, buggy, broken. I'm not saying Mario Kart World is one of them. Believe me, I highly doubt that, knowing Nintendo's track record when it comes to their games are typically very well polished and amazing when they come out. But that doesn't justify the price they're asking. Think about it. $80 for a video game. That's crazy, And I thought the $70 was ridiculous, but this is way over the top. It is downright greedy. And that's kind of why I put, the arrogant thing in my video yesterday. But what really gets me going with this one is the next statement, because Doug Bowser tried to justify the price of the system. I believe this interview was even before the tariff situation, by the way. So let's keep going. Here's what he said in an interview with CNBC. As we look at a Switch 2 and you think about the feature set that I talked about, we believe the pricing is appropriate for the value of the machine and the gameplay experience overall. We recognize there are some people that may not be able to afford it. That's why we want to make the other Switch platforms available so people still have an opportunity to come into our universe, be a part of these characters, and just want to see value, if you will, in whatever rung of the platform they come in.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Ooh, man. That's their Xbox One moment, brother. For those who don't remember, way back when the Xbox One was shown off for the first time, there was so much backlash because the whole TV nonsense. Not to mention with the whole DRM nonsense Microsoft was trying to push at the time. There was an infamous statement by Don Matrick in an interview where saying if you don't have an internet connection, buy an Xbox 360. This is essentially that. Like that that statement alone. You know what I mean? Obviously, they're still going to support the Switch One. They've said that before many times. I mean, there's even games by them that are coming out next year for Switch One. So, I mean, they're not lying about that. Regardless of all that, I think the price of the system is fair. Granted, that's if the price stays the same after the tariff situation is cleared up. If the price stays the same, okay, I personally think what you're getting with the Switch 2, the hardware alone, okay, is pretty fair. But with that being said, though, if the price goes up, that's where my tune starts to change. And that makes me hesitate about getting the Switch 2 when it comes out in June. Because I fully intend on getting the system day one, provided that the price stays the same, okay? If it goes up, well, that's where we'll have a different conversation. You know what I mean? So, I mean, again, like, this proves my point about how Nintendo is arrogant again. You know what I mean? Every single time a company does well, they get arrogant again. Like, look at Microsoft, the Xbox One. Look at Sony with the PlayStation 3. Obviously, this is Nintendo's moment with the Switch 2, after the bonkers success of the Switch 1. Like, nobody expected the Switch 1 to sell as huge as it did. Like, nobody did. So to sum it up, like, yeah, this is definitely Nintendo's Xbox One moment. Definitely, for sure. Especially with that statement alone. I don't know why Doug Bowser even felt the need to say something like that. That's ludicrous. He doesn't get it. The reason people are pissed off, myself included, is the price of the game. $80 is not okay for a video game. That is outrageous. Mark my words, GTA, you know GTA 6 is going to be more than $80. I would not be surprised, because I'd say it's pretty darn obvious with that game. I just have the sinking feeling that Take-Two, because they know that Take-Two and Rockstar know that they can get away with it because it's Grand Theft Auto. They're going to increase the price of that game. And you already know the industry's going to follow suit after the Mario Kart and GTA 6. You already know it's going to happen. And we're going to still have to deal with the same nonsense that we've been dealing with the gaming industry for years at this point. You already know it. So it's insane, this whole situation is. But, again, also another possible theory is that Nintendo is doing this, maybe, is so that people will buy the Mario Kart bundle, because that's $50 more. But really, you're saving $30, though. So it's kind of masking some kind of deal, because you're saving money by buying a game for $50 instead of $80. You know what I mean? Like games used to be back in the day, during the PS2 and in the Xbox era, original Xbox era. Just saying. But that's all I gotta say on this one. But wow, like, Nintendo seems to not learn from mistakes that the industry has made, clearly. So, don't get me wrong, I still think the Switch 2 is going to sell out, gangbusters in the first release. Now, down the line, though, we'll see how that pans out. But, yeah. Anyway, that's all I gotta say on this one. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. And are you getting a Switch 2, like myself, or are you going to hold out? I'm looking forward to seeing your answers, and I'll see you on the next one. Till then, have a good one.